Okay, we're live. The Bourbon Brothers, episode number 18 already. That's absolutely freaking insane. But here we are again, back for your possibly viewing pleasure, definitely your audio pleasure. Supplement Snoop Justin Hall with my partner in crime, Robert Chinetsky, supplement engineer. What's going on, Robert?
That almost sounds dirty. Your audio pleasure.
Your audio pleasure.
Sounds
like that. What is
lewd.
that? There's that acronym or whatever for like the people that they like whisper, and it's like kind of like helps people relax, but it's also like kind of a weird fetish thing.
I've heard about that. It's AS something.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
I heard Fuad talking about it on his bodybuilding podcast one time, and then Gerhard, I had him on the show. We were just shooting the shit one day, and he was talking about Twitch. Since he's a gamer, he was talking about how we had talked about Twitch is being taken over by people that just stream and do like licking of earphones and stuff like that. Like that's a thing. the stuff you're talking about, like the audio stuff you're talking about, like there's people that lick microphone ears or something like that on Twitch. People got some weird shit, but hey, whatever gets you, your whatever stuff you enjoy, that's fine. I don't know if I need to see it or know that it exists, but whatever works for you.
I was fine not knowing that. I find myself constantly saying though, like when people bring up like weird shit like that, I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, that's fine because it could be way worse.
There's some weird shit, but hey, man, yes, absolutely, there could be way worse things out there. So
on that note, that sounds like a Gerhard thing that he would know about too. Like,
how do we get to that? How do you segue from that naturally?
I know, right? I think so. I was just talking to him, and I think he might try to come down to the Christmas party, which is rapidly approaching. It's only 6 weeks away, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, December 18th, you said.
The 18th. Last year, last year it was on a different weekend, but it was the night before the party that was actually
all hell broke loose.
Well, and the reason why, like, now granted, the party itself was crazy. Like, a lot of people were throwing up, and they were like just a huge mess. I really didn't even drink the night of the party because we went out like the night before was so crazy that I was like, I'm just going to chill tonight, just kind of normal. But because the night before we went downtown here, and it was just absolutely like pure insanity. Somebody started buying Irish car bombs, and then next thing you know how it's like you get a group of people, and like somebody like kind of hits the start button, and then next thing you know, it's just it's on. So we. And then when the actual party happened the night after, like I said, I just wanted to just chill and enjoy myself. But a lot of people ended up throwing up and stuff like that. So
my one Irish car bomb story. This was my last year at LSU, and the guy that was the co-section leader of the trumpet section in the band with me, Steven, we got together for St. Patrick's Day, and we watched Boondock Saints, as you would.
Great movie.
And so we decided to play a drinking game of every time they say fuck, you take a sip of beer.
And they say fuck a lot in that movie. I haven't seen it in a lot, but they say, it's a pretty...
Well, we got to the scene with the cat, if you know what I'm talking about.
I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Basically, something transpires, something happens with a cat in the room, and this guy goes on an expletive-laced tirade. And at that point, all of us just tapped that and said, we're done drinking at this point, we're done. Yep. And then Steven gets the bright idea. Let's do Irish car bombs. St. Patrick's Day, we're watching Boondock Saints. Why not? He goes and grabs a Guinness, grabs his Jameson whiskey, drops it in. He's standing over the sink in his kitchen. And me, Sandy, and a couple of other people are there. He shoots the whole thing in one fell swoop as fast as it went down. Son of a bitch came back up immediately. Yeah. Like, I've never seen that kind of intake and outtake that quickly of any substance before. It was that's my one and only car bomb story, and I learned never to do something like that again.
Yeah, we had there were some good stories that came out of last year. Just Christmas, even things that were like going on that I was there and I didn't know about because there was so many people there. This year is also it's Waldron's birthday, and so we're gonna be. It's gonna be like I know you just did the Holland thing, but it's gonna be pretty fun.
Might have to make another road trip, is what you're saying.
because I know you got the Nutra Cartel shirt on. I know Jake said he's coming too.
I do. Thank you to Jake for this very sexy shirt.
Yeah, he didn't have one my size. He was going to give me one, but he didn't have one my size.
You trying to say I'm small there, Justin?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just stating what he told me.
Truth be told, this is a large, and I was surprised it wasn't like hanging off of me because, I mean, you've seen me. I'm not the biggest guy by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I think so. Jake said he's coming. He just told me that yesterday. I put a thing up in the private Facebook group because Brady and I we're just covering everybody's tickets that are in the group, and but it's funny too. Here's something else about like the private Facebook group. So basically, we say, okay, anybody that's a Facebook group member that subscribes to the app or whatever, obviously, like we'll just cover your ticket, but no one uses the code. No one uses it. They just all pay for it anyway. It's just the type of people that the entire group is. People buy tickets for each other, and like people are just like, you know, they win giveaways and then they give stuff away to like other people because they feel bad because like other people lost. It's like such a bizarre, awesome kind of thing. But there were so many people that came from the group last year. Flew from all over the country. So many people got to meet each other for the first time. And now, you know, it's the second year. So now people at least, you know what to expect. You know where it's at. You have to, like, the travel arrangements are a little bit easier. So I know Chris is coming for his birthday. I know like Morphogen and Ben and his wife will be there for sure.
How old is he turning?
Waldron?
Yeah, 30.
I feel like he's like 37-ish, somewhere in there. 36. Yeah. Do you see him? He's doing a competition next week.
I knew last time I had him on the show and we had talked, he was prepping for it, but I didn't know he was stepping on stage this soon.
Yeah, he's stepping on. He looks absolutely insane.
That's good.
Yeah,
I saw him, you know, some big boy weights a while back.
Yeah, you know, I know we're not like, you know, I respect the process. I'm not into bodybuilding or anything like that, but when you watch someone, especially since they just had a baby and all that sort of stuff, there's all the stuff that he has going on. The process, I told him the other day, man, I was like, dude, I'm so proud of you because he said he was going to do it. I think he's big boy. Right? Like he's 235 probably, normally like walking around. He's about the same height as me. And I'm maybe 215. He's quite a bit bigger than I am. Yeah. And I think he said he's getting down to like 197. Damn. And he looks absolutely insane. I saw him just this morning. I was watching his Instagram stories. He looks absolutely insane. So, but anyway, he said that it's his birthday, so he wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it, but he told me he's coming. And then I know like Michael from Glaxon's definitely coming. He said that. Last year, Dan from Goes came. They obviously have a lot going on, but I know he's going to try to come. Dan's a super good dude, and lots of other people will be there, man. It's gonna be a blast. It's such a shit show last year.
That's the way it should be. I mean, it's, you know, like when we went out after the Apollon thing, it just antics start happening, but I'm sure it's going to be on a much bigger scale considering the size of the people, the size of the party, and everything like that.
Yeah, it was exactly like the Apollon thing, except I want to say like downtown, when we're in downtown Spartanburg, there's a really cool. And plus, it's December here, but it's still nice out, right? Yeah. You know, still relatively warm. So last year, like I said, they have this really cool like square downtown, you know, and it's a nice meeting area. There's a lot of outdoor bars, and then that one Irish bar that I told you about that has that amazing bourbon selection. Yeah, they have a really cool area outside, and it was just all like us, and it was just fucking insane. So,
there we go.
Yeah, I think we went to bed. I remember going to bed that morning, like 6:30 or something like that in the morning. And so it's like, that's why the next day rolled around. The party was in the afternoon. I was like, I'll be there a little later. And,
dicey proposition.
Yeah, I remember we drank like I had some Buffalo Trace, just kind of sipping on it. People were just chugging straight out of the bottle and stuff like that. Next thing you know, people are throwing up and passing out. Did I ever tell you a story about our friend passing out in the car?
I don't think so.
Oh man, this is an awesome story. So especially like now, a year later, we all know each other a lot better. So one really close friend of mine, who I did not know at the time, it was the first time I met him, was that night. His name's Robert, big bourbon guy and stuff. He's the one that brought the bottle of Blanton's Gold here. A few months back, he came to visit. So I had never met him before. So we're like standing around, we're having this conversation, and this kid's kind of standing there, and next thing you know, like he introduces myself. I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, dude, you've been standing here this whole time. And so anyway, we rode over to the party, Kristen and I, with another friend of mine. And a little while into the party, this is still early, I'm like, where's Larry? I was like, I haven't seen him in like hours. And it's still like relatively early at night. And I'm like, so I texted him. I didn't hear anything back. I'm like, okay, well, whatever, because we're supposed to give him a ride back. So anyway, never hear from him. I get a text from him at like 3 a.m. or something like that I never saw. Turns out he got hammered, right? He falls asleep in the back of somebody's car. He doesn't know who it is, right? He's like, I just woke up in the back seat of a car. Somebody woke me up. Turns out it was this kid who had never met him before, didn't know who he was. So I'm hearing this story from like both of these people now, who are now like everybody's like really good friends. But he's like, I go to get in my car, and there's just some dude passed out in the back seat of my car. So I'm trying to get information out of him, like, where can I take you? How can I help you? You know, kind of thing. So he gave him a ride back to the hotel and like got him all his stuff and everything like that. But yeah, he just straight up, he's like, I don't know, man. He's like, I just apparently wanted to pass out somewhere, and I found the first unlocked car I could find. And he just took a little nap. And I was like, all right. It was early too, so yeah. People were getting after it. So anyway, that's the type of scene it was last year. So
there we go. I'm gonna see. I know it's like a day and a half drive for me if I did it, because we're house sitting for some friends of ours here in Austin over Christmas, but that's the 23rd through New Year's Day because they're going out of town. So if I play my cards right, the party's on the 18th, assuming there's some night before party on the 17th. Means I leave the 16th. I get home on the 20th. Could work. Let me see. Let's look up Austin, Texas to, you said Spartanburg, right?
Yeah.
Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Yeah, I just hit Austin, Texas. 17-hour drive, roughly.
17 hours, yeah. 16 hours and 44 minutes.
I mean, it's a lot less than you just did.
It's a lot less than 25 hours.
Yeah, a lot less than going to Jersey. Yeah, so it'll be a good time though, for sure, man. If you do make it, was a blast.
I'll talk to the missus, and I don't see why not.
Right?
Yeah, it can work for me.
Business expense, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, exactly. Get to meet Jacob and the rest of the crew for the first time in person. See some people I haven't seen in person in a long time, like Waldron, Dan, if he can make it down. I've never met Morphogen Ben in person. I've only talked to him a couple of times on the podcast.
You'll like Ben. Ben's a good dude for sure.
Based Bourbon Bros, Jiffy Jank. Right. So he's commented with that remark, based. I had no idea what the hell it meant. I had to ask him one day. I said, "What does that mean?" Did you know what it means? Do you know what it means?
It's like it's a term of endearment, basically.
Yeah, that's what he basically said. It was like, it's cool, it's good, it's a good show, and all that stuff. I said,
come on, Robert, you're younger than I am.
I know, and I don't understand all of these modern day colloquialisms.
Colloquialisms. You got to be careful with that. That's like one of the rules too. If you there's a couple other people that are going to be coming down this year, weren't here last year. Like my best friend that got me into bourbon, he'll be coming down also. Yeah. And we have a rule: if you're at the bar and if you use a word that has too many syllables, you get slapped across the face. So
I can't say sesquipedalian.
Can't say colloquialisms like you. That actually you'd probably get punched. That's so egregious, and you can't say egregious either. So. Yeah.
Well, then we really screwed if Kenton comes from Core America. If Kenton shows up, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Or I guess he would be.
Yeah, he would be like one of those clown punching bags. You just hit him and
he pops back up and does all that number.
So we'll have a good time. But yeah.
I was talking to my sister last night, and I was sipping on one of the pickups I had when I was navigating down from Jersey. I stopped in one of the hotels, and I just ran to the local liquor store to see if I could find anything good or something I couldn't find around here. And I found a single barrel of Knob Creek. It's still 9 years old. It's 120 proof compared to the regular 100 proof of Knob Creek. And I was sipping on that last night. I texted my sister. I said, Blanton's is overrated. Because she and her husband love Blanton's. And she said, who are you cheating on Blanton's with? I said, Knob Creek 120 proof. It's fantastic. It's amazing. I said, Blanton still has the better bottle. And she says, how many letters do you have? We just give ours away. And I said, what? You're supposed to be spelling them out. She said, yeah, we just give them away. We don't care. And I said, I don't get any letters because it's never around here by me. There is no Blanton's.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, because I opened up a bottle of Blanton's the other night. And it's like when you drink other stuff and then you have Blanton's, for me, it just tastes better. But it's not like what you just said. It's to me, it's still not worth like what you have to go through to get it sometimes. Luckily, we had a friend that could find it pretty easily, so he shipped me some. It's still like, pretty expensive. So then like once you kind of tie in all those things together, then it's like, do I really need this stuff, like that bad? But it is pretty cool bottle. And it does taste good because we cracked it Monday night. And then last night I just had some Buffalo Trace. Regular Buffalo Trace is damn good.
It's damn good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've got no issues. I've got a handle of that. I haven't had the Weller in a while, but that's always good. That's really good.
You have Eagle Rare now, right?
I do. I save that for special little sips here and there. And so Sandy and I did kind of a head-to-head comparison one day of Eagle Rare versus Russell's Reserve. It's another 10-year.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can find that all the time for $30 bucks.
Yeah, same here.
And nope, it's not even close. Eagle Rare is that much better. And the proofs are the same thing too, but Eagle Rare is a better 10-year bourbon. If I could find the damn thing.
I know. Eagle Rare is like one of those ones where I almost would buy, like if I walked into a store and there's Blanton's and Eagle Rare, I might take the Eagle Rare. Yeah. It's just so good. So I was glad, I found a few bottles of that because it's really difficult to find. But you're right, like it was like when we, had the Blanton's Gold, I was like, there's no way that it's that much better than regular Blanton's to justify the cost. And then we tried it, and I was like, damn, it is. Like, wow, which kind of sucks because it's super expensive. And I was like, damn, that is actually like, that is worth the extra cost for me. Which, speaking of that, so one of our friends that watches the podcast sometimes, he's in Ohio, and he gets Weller, and he gets Weller Antique all the time, like easily. It's really annoying. So he told me yesterday he was going to trade for a bottle of Sweet Wheat, 1792 Sweet Wheat. I ended up paying, I think, like $180 with shipping for a bottle of Sweet Wheat. Because you can really
not bad at all.
Yeah, the cheapest I've ever seen it was like $150. This asshole messages me yesterday and said he went into his local liquor store and he got a bottle of Sweet Wheat for $40.
You shitting me?
I was like, I hate you.
For the listeners that have no idea what we're talking about, here's some of the secondary prices on Sweet Wheat. I'm assuming you might be able to find it there. Oh no, that's just the small batch.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Sweet Wheat is $200 right there.
Yeah,
that shop. I wonder, did they even know what they had?
That's exactly what I said. I said, did they just not know that it was because you see regular 1792 for that price?
Yeah.
I was like, did they just not read it?
Oh, if you can get it in the lottery, it actually is $40 MSRP in Virginia on their state lottery system.
For the lottery system, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually you see it, like I said, when I saw it for $150, I jumped all over it because it's impossible to find as it is, let alone find it for under $200.
Right.
So, yeah, $40. And that wasn't on the lottery. So
impressive.
I was like, God damn it.
I tried Four Roses single barrel when I was at that bacon, bourbon, and burgers place.
I think Four Roses is incredibly overrated.
Yeah, I wasn't nuts about it. It was very floral tasting, and I mean, and I understand there's like 10 different recipes Four Roses can do from all the different stuff. Maybe the single barrel one I had just wasn't that good. It was too floral for me to try. I didn't enjoy it that much.
Yeah, I've never used it where like I've never had a Four Roses that I was like, oh wow, it's good. Like it's just always like, whatever.
Yeah. What about Angel's Envy? Have we talked about that one before?
Yeah, it's another one I never. It's like I'm like,
Yeah, that's the same one. It's not good. This is delicious.
Yeah. And easy to find.
Very easy to find. So, have you?
That Harper is really good. If you go back.
Boop.
At the bottom, the 15-year.
I've heard good things about this Lost Monarch too. I haven't tried it though.
Yeah.
Oh, the IW Harper?
Yeah, that's really good. That's a good price, actually.
$85. 15-year-old bourbon. Yeah.
That is to say, that is a really good price. I've seen it for a lot more.
Let's see what the proof is on it. I'm going to assume it's 90. Let's see.
I don't have any of it. A friend of mine has a couple bottles of it. It's really good.
Let's see. Just let me in. Okay, sure.
Right.
For all of you watching, that's not my actual birthday. If you're trying to play any jokes. 86 proof. Okay, it's on the lower end of the spectrum, but 15 years. I mean, it's still a higher proof than like 15-year-old scotches and stuff like that. Because most of the Irish and Scotch whiskeys are only 80 proof.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'd be able to try that.
Anyway, so he got it for the MSRP, which is unheard of unless you get it in a lottery. Yeah, there you go.
GOB, if it is a control state, sweet wheat is $40 MSRP.
Yeah, it's just you just never see it for that.
Yeah,
never see it for that.
Redwood Empire Lost Mark is worth the buy. It's a rye bourbon, a high rye bourbon. I'm guessing that's what it means. It's a high rye bourbon.
So, on another note, what did LSU do last week?
It was a bye week. So fortunately, because this week we're going to get skull dragged by Bama.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's the first weekend in November is always Bama weekend. We've got a lame duck coach. We've got injuries. Like half of the roster is on the DL. The other half is entering the transfer portal. So we're going to show up with like the JV squad this week and get absolutely throttled. Fortunately, Sandy and I have a fundraiser for her school to go to, so I don't have to expose myself.
Yeah.
To the embarrassment that is forthcoming.
Yeah, well, I was talking to, when we were watching that game at the bar, the Miami game, the Miami-NC State game.
Yeah.
NC State was ranked somewhere in the middle of the pack there. And I was sort of lamenting. I was like, Miami is on the verge of firing their coach. I still think he's going to get fired. But that quarterback from Miami, their King got hurt for the whole year. And then they stick this freshman kid in there. And his first two games, he had really bad first halves, and then second half he kind of went nuts. They should have won both of those games.
Yeah.
And then he had a great game against NC State, and then he lit Pitt up last week. And I think Pitt was ranked 18th or something like that. So they had a big win last week too, and then now they kind of have an easier part of their schedule. So. They're playing like all freshmen. It's like freshmen up and down. Their quarterbacks are freshmen. Their running backs are freshmen. Their receivers are freshmen. Their defenses making plays are all freshmen. It's crazy. Like you look down through, it's like freshmen. So, the Pitt game last week was pretty good. That quarterback, man, he's good. Holy shit!
Solid.
I was watching him. That kid, he's got some balls. He makes some throws that are. Pretty crazy. So he's probably, I don't know if he's going to save the coach's job because I think they'll kind of realize they should be better than they are. But I don't know. I'm looking. I don't know if they're going to fire him now. I was sure they were going to fire him, and then now I'm like 85% sure they're still going to fire him. But if they go on a run, because now they play like Georgia Tech and they play Florida State and Duke, and because they actually, when going into this season, I was like, man, Miami's schedule is so weak. Like all they played was Alabama, and then North Carolina was really the only other decently ranked team. But they now, as the season's played on, Miami has like one of the hardest schedules in the whole country because they played Michigan State.
Who's looking really good.
2 top 5 teams, and then NC State and Pitt were ranked like higher than normal, and even like Appalachian State has a decent record and all that stuff. So anyway, the whole season's been so weird, and now they're kind of going into some games where they should win. They're playing, like I said, like Florida State, Duke.
Some easy ones that they should be able to get by pretty easily with.
So now all of a sudden it's like it's like and then Virginia Tech. So it's like, oh man, they're like, it's just enough to just piss you off. You know what I mean? Because what they're gonna do is they're gonna drop one of these games, that they should win, and then they give you a little bit of hope, and then it's coming. By now it's coming, but you're still. They play like another noon game. They play Georgia Tech this week at like noon or something like that. So we'll get up, hang out. She has a totally new schedule now, which is kind of why we were like celebrating with some Blantons the other night. She changed jobs and new schedule, so everything's much easier for us.
Cool. What's up, JoJo? How are you, man?
Yeah, man.
Did y'all do anything for Halloween? Are y'all big Halloween people?
No. Obviously now too, like no house. We're at an apartment, so no trick or treaters or anything like that.
Yeah.
What did we do? I was gonna watch. We ended up watching. I can't remember what we ended up watching. I was gonna have her watch the 2018 Halloween movie. I know we talked about that before.
Yeah.
Right. That movie was awesome. I love that one. That was so good. And she's never seen it, so we were going to watch that. But we started watching them. Did you ever see his Dark Materials or ever read those books?
No, I haven't. Was that good?
Yeah. So they made an HBO show. There's 2 seasons into it. It's sort of like the books are really, really good. They're like kind of a young adult, maybe like Hunger Games age group type thing, because it's like it's hard to explain because it's very like deep adult stuff kind of going on, but also at the same time kind of for like young adults in the same way. But HBO it's 3 books, and HBO turned it into a show a couple of years ago, and I watched the first season. There's 2 seasons out. I didn't watch the second one. So we're going to go back and rewatch the first one. I'm going to rewatch it. She's going to watch it for the first time, and then we're going to watch season 2, and then I think they're going to do like season 3 is the final one next year. But the books are really good, man. It's very anti-religion, very like kind of fantasy, but also like not like overly like fantasy at the same time. It's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff, and the show is really good.
When you say anti-religion, is it more like atheist kind of thing, or it's saying like religion's used to mind control people or assert authority over them or dominations, those kind of things?
Yeah, kind of like both. Like where the author is very like outspoken against religion, and basically it's like one of these books where religion is trying to keep the truth from people, kind of thing. So they're they're kind of the villain, sort of in it. But it's good stuff. Like I said, it's on HBO Max. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's a good show.
Cool. We'll have to keep an eye out for that one, then.
A lot of good people in it.
JoJo, feeling good, reverse dieting, and not cutting anymore. Yeah, I gotta imagine when you're coming out of contest prep and you're finishing, you're getting back to living normally. Those extra calories and fewer cardio sessions probably do feel good.
Yeah, I've been reverse dieting for like 2 years now.
You're on the perma bulk,
right?
Yeah.
It changes like day by day.
Yeah. Some days I'm not hungry, I don't eat, and then it's a reverse diet the next day. You're gonna account for the calories you didn't eat the day before. That works.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man. There was something I was getting ready to say. Halloween, his Dark Materials. Well, like Zero. Well, you got a super highly active job. I mean, you're delivering packages all damn day. So doing the Lord's work with Amazon.
Yeah,
And
that's cardio.
That's you're getting more steps than I can imagine.
Yeah,
How many
zero
do you get in
cardio,
an
that's right
average
up my
day?
alley. Yeah, zero cardio is right up my alley.
What was I going to say? We had bourbon.
Football.
We'll cover the football. Oh, we were talking about Dan earlier with the Christmas party, and they have now the collaboration coming out with them and Space Jam. I like the original movie a lot. I think you may have mentioned before that you did too.
Oh, I mean, of course.
Okay,
so much so that I wouldn't in any way, shape, or form ever in a million years watch the remake. Or
you're not going to acknowledge the
nope.
travesty of 2021?
Nope, I don't know. It's blasphemous.
Agreed. Well, it's funny that I guess however you want to look at it, LeBron has always been a Michael Jordan shadow. Even coming out, they always compared him to Mike. I don't know if he'll ever get out of that. And trying to redo Jordan's movie, that makes it just seem like you're still got this chip on your shoulder that you're inferior. You're going to try and take him away.
Yeah. I was always like a LeBron fan, like when he was younger, because I was really like kind of impressed by him because the way he sort of handled himself, basically being 19 years old and having the entire world at your feet kind of thing. As he's gotten older, I think he's really just kind of gone off the rails. A lot of really stupid things he said. I think he kind of gives in to what people think he should say, his fans and whatever and stuff like that. So I think that's, I don't know. I don't really respect him anymore. And I think like what you're just saying makes a lot of sense where he's like talked about pushing back against it and stuff, but then he kind of does the same thing, wants to remake it. So,
Yeah. Jojo, I heard it was more Warner Brother advertising as opposed to an actual movie based. Yeah, that's what I heard too. Like in the crowd, they just have a bunch of cameos of all these different IPs from the Warner Brothers lot. Like you'd see Batman or Superman sitting in the audience watching them during the game. I wasn't going to waste the time or money to watch it. But I've heard that comment from a few different sources.
This other comment is interesting. I don't know if you're like this because I hear this a lot. People will like watch like a TV show or they'll like watch movies and stuff like that, and people will say like, "Oh, I didn't like it," and then I'll like ask them why, and they'll make a comment about like these underlying sort of like social whatever points they're trying to make, and I'm like, damn, I don't know, man. Like sometimes I gotta watch movies and I just kind of watch them, and this type of stuff doesn't usually like sink in. Like I don't really like notice if they're trying to get across because honestly, like I don't really like care. I don't care like what other like if a filmmaker is trying to get across like a social point or whatever. Like I don't really care like what they think about it. I just want to be entertained. So I'm like sometimes I only see like the entertainment value of a movie because that's all but I hear this a lot. Like I think like I'm in the minority where like I don't this stuff doesn't really like sink in.
Yeah. Going back to certain things, so certain movies and genres have lent themselves to like there are certain messages or themes that the director or the writers want to get across. So the original Star Trek definitely had some things like, hey, we're trying to make the human race better, we're going to advance it. But it wasn't in your face. It was subtle, and it played on common themes like we're going to enrich the human spirit. Let's not be afraid of each other. Let's, war is bad. These kind of universal themes where I think a lot of the messaging that could be perceived in movies today is beating you over the head with something. The case in point that is easy for me, and, I don't read a lot into it, but I've heard a couple of people say that it was nice that this wasn't a super woke fest of a movie because a lot of what has been churned out of Hollywood as of late has been, especially like the new Doctor Who and the new Star Trek Discovery series that's on the streaming services. But where was I going? Oh, if you go back and remember Avengers Endgame, at the end of the movie when they're all teaming up and all of the Avengers finally come out and they start fighting Thanos, there is that one scene where Spider-Man has the glove, Captain Marvel comes in and says, "I'll take the glove," and Spider-Man says, "How are you going to do this?" And then it's like the girl power moment where every single female character from the MCU says, "We don't need your help, we'll handle it." And I'm like, that's a pretty obvious fuck you to all the men out there, woman power, rah, rah, rah.
I literally, dude, I've watched that scene so many times, I never took it that way.
No, I mean, Sandy's not a super feminist, but when she watched it, she made the comment to me, she said, "That's stupid." She says, "That makes no sense. There's no reason to have that in there either."
I'm not saying anybody is like wrong for thinking that. That doesn't, I guess that's my point, is that doesn't, because I'm just like, I was like, oh, cool, like big shiny objects. Like it's a Marvel movie. Or the same kind of thing happened, I think, when people were like bitching about like the Star Wars movies, like the latest like Star Wars movies. And I remember like people were like in an uproar about it. And I'm like, man, I like that. And then people were like, well, the messaging. I was like, the messaging. I was like, it's fucking Jedis, man. Like it's messaging. Like, what are you talking about? I miss these things. I don't know. But I think that like to the comment here too is like, I actually don't like watch a lot of like newer stuff, and that's part of the reason why too, is because like if I see like a preview for something, or there's certain directors and certain actors and stuff like that, this is part of what they do, I just don't watch it.
Right. Yeah. Same thing with me. Like I didn't watch the new Ghostbusters in 2016. That was the all-girl cast because I'm thinking we just rehashed the original thing, but we changed it. We made all 4 girls the Ghostbusters and the guys the secretary now. That's real innovation. I'm thinking, plus I didn't like any of the comedians that were really in there.
Yeah. Well, and that was kind of fun. That's a good example actually, because they also, I remember people there being like backlash because no one went and saw it. Yeah. And then everybody, they were all blaming this on sexism, that's the reason why nobody watched it. And I was like, the reason why I'm not going to watch it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that they're female. I think this is a stupid idea. Yeah. To like try to redo it and just make it women. There's nothing innovative. There's nothing like,
it's derivative.
Like that's great. I'm glad. Like, go ahead and make that movie. I'm not interested in watching the same movie, just swapping out men for women. That's not appealing enough for me to do it. Right. Well, it's like you watch, like we rewatched Game of Thrones, which whatever people think about the ending or stuff, but that show is awesome. Like especially as you watch through it, and if how there's like you watch movies or stuff like that, and they make the women characters are often like the same. They try to make these strong women characters, but they're really just like exhaustive. Like they're like combative for like no reason. They try to be like overly they try to portray them as strong. And I'm like, actually, like this gives me the opposite vibe. This seems like they're just like really insecure. So we were watching Game of Thrones, and I'm like, you watch a show like that, the women in that show are actually like badass, and they don't do it in a way where they're like, we're women, so we have to be like over the top like about it. We just are, kind of thing. So it's like that makes more sense. You know what I mean? It's like I think that's like the part you're talking about with the Marvel one. If Captain Marvel, like she's the all-time badasses and all of like superheroes. So if she comes in and does it, just do it. You don't have to make a point that we're doing it because we're women and we don't need guys. You just do it because they're already badasses. So it's like the more you point to it, you sort of take away the integrity of the whole purpose of it.
Yeah. And it's like you go back through the history of cinema, and even, you can go back through novels and fiction, all that. They're strong women characters without slapping you in the face. Like Ellen Ripley in the Alien movies is a super badass. Jamie Lee Curtis in the later Halloween movies, like in H2O, was a badass and all of that stuff. I mean, it's just, there are certain strong, and Princess Leia, go back and watch the original Star Wars trilogies back when Star Wars was good. I'll side with the people that think the Disney trilogy is shit, because I read all of the old books, and that storyline I think is much better.
Well, that when you talk about like the differences in like the storylines, I think that's different. I think I know what you mean. If you just take it for what it is, then I like it. But if you start doing that, then I get it, because I know some people that feel the same way. But I saw feedback about like all like the messaging and stuff in it. I'm like, I didn't see. I don't know. Like it's good versus evil. It's light versus dark. The way it has always been. It's just people will find. Not that people are wrong. Like there is instances like you brought up and like he's bringing up that it makes sense. But people will also really look for this stuff to, kind of be weird about it anyway.
I would agree with that. I haven't seen No Time to Die yet. I do like the James Bond series overall. The Daniel Craig ones have been a mixed bag for me. Like Casino Royale, I thought was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum of Solace was really boring to me. And then it's like they tried to make James Bond more like Jason Bourne than an actual like spy kind of thriller. And then like the past couple of movies have all been James Bond, you're old, you should be retired, you don't fit in our world anymore. It seems like this is the third or fourth time they're playing on that storyline. It's like he starts out like they have to bring him out of retirement. Just show me James Bond kicking ass and being a badass. So
you got to click on the last comment that just came in. So I want to talk about this.
I love strong female characters, just not Abby from The Last of Us. She curls Snoop's deadlift, so she's ripped. Ellen.
So The Last of Us, you ever played The Last of Us?
Mm-mm.
So it's a PlayStation exclusive. They're actually making a TV show out of it finally.
Okay.
But so there was a version, I think, for PlayStation 3, and then they remastered it for PlayStation 4.
Okay.
And then it's a zombie apocalypse kind of game. But man, dude,
cool.
this the original The Last of Us is hands down one of the greatest video games ever made. It is absolutely
really.
It's freaky. It's it'll creep you out. Like, but it's the story of it is crazy. So they made a sequel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the one character he's talking about in there, speaking of unnecessary woke culture kind of things, it's exactly like what he's talking about. Like they put in, basically they make her. I mean, she's trans, like she's a dude, and then there's like this scene where she like bends the guy over, and the song. It's like, we always like. There's this thing, right, where you're like, okay, we know that this stuff is out there. It's okay to acknowledge the existence of it and be totally fine with it. You don't have to interject it in everything.
Correct.
To like force people to be like, okay, this it's like, oh, we get it. Like this stuff, like, but this is so like bizarre. There's no like point to having this.
Yeah, it's not a natural fit or something like that.
Because, and I'll tell you why too. Like with this game, not to give away like spoilers and stuff for the game, but there's nothing about her being. I mean, I don't even know what to. That's part of the problem too. Is I'm not sure what I'm supposed to call people like this. I've lost track. I've asked people that are in these communities, like, can you just help me understand what I'm supposed to say and what I'm not supposed to say? Because I don't know, because it's like new rules every single day.
Right.
So whatever she is, she's obviously like a man and a woman, like at the same time or whatever. But there's nothing in the game that has anything to do with anything. She doesn't like. They don't like explore like that or like make it like a. She just is, and they do this some in your face kind of stuff about this, and it's like, well, that doesn't. I mean, does that?
Yeah, when it's forced like that and slapping you in the face, that's when it like you're detracting from the main story.
Right.
And I think if some of these themes were just worked naturally in, and I think that's partially why
exactly
so many people hate a lot of the movies coming out these days, because you can put up with a lot of things, like Jiffy was saying, and he says here in this comment, if the movie is good and entertaining, but when things are forced and shoehorned in there in something that doesn't fit and it takes away from the story, or it's just a message wrapped around a shitty story, then I mean,
well, because that people are only doing it to appease a group of people. Because if you don't do it, and there's times like this too, and I like, this is a little bit annoying to me. Like I think it's good to have diversity, like always, right? But you watching like The Witcher, for example, awesome show. They make some casting decisions, which is like, hey man, diversify the cast. I think it's a good thing. To have legitimate like diversity in cast, of course it is. But the story, actually, there's parts of it that don't make sense because people are like related to each other, but they're completely different ethnicities and things like that. So it really like contradicts part of the story just to make sure that you check certain boxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like that's what I mean when you read like Game of Thrones and you watch the show, they're not doing it to check boxes. They're doing it naturally. They're doing it like, and maybe there is some examples. I'm sure people can find some examples where they think I'm wrong, but it's like, it just doesn't, it's almost like an advertisement, if that makes sense, where like you're watching a movie sort of playing along and then like, okay, trans advertising.
Checking our boxes here. We have the token. Yeah.
We have to do this for our sponsors, the LGBT, the letter community. It's like, so we have to appease them. And it's really weird. It's like kind of like jarring. You're like, I don't understand. Like, why did we just do that? Because it doesn't sort of fit in. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yep. Jojo, I heard we got that one already. Speaking of Halloween, we went to a friend's neighborhood and it was the coolest experience of trick-or-treating.
Good.
They had a house that had lights on for kids to get candy, and then they had houses with lights on for Jell-O shots and other adult beverages. So that is awesome.
So when we used to go trick-or-treating, and then when I got a little bit older, we would take my cousins trick-or-treating, and that's what we would do. Is the parents would just be drinking beer, walking with their kids, and then you would stop at somebody's house, and they would give the parents a beer, and you would give kids candy.
Yeah.
This was I don't want to say like rural America, but this is Pennsylvania, and somewhat, not like hillbillies, but kind of close. But man, everybody just had a good time.
The backbone of America, the hardworking people, push our country forward. No, but I agree with you. This year we took the halfling around. This is her second year doing it, so she's 4 now. Her first time actually trick-or-treating was last year, 3 years old. And we went around. Santa and I dressed up in full Ninja Turtle costumes, and she was a Ninja Turtle last year. This year she dressed up. She created this little thing called Lava Girl, where she just wears a bunch of red stuff. She took our red Ninja Turtle mask, a red cape she got from somewhere else, red shirt, red tutu that spins, and red gloves and all this other shit. Last year,
isn't Lava Girl actually something?
Apparently so, because we had 3 people say, "Oh, well, have you seen the cartoon? There's some cartoon called Shark Boy and Lava Girl." I said, "I have no idea what that is." And I know she's never watched it.
Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
I don't know if the costume is anything similar, but Sophia just wears all red stuff. But last year we were walking around, and I had never seen this. We go and hand her, she gets candy, and then somebody else asks us, they said, "Hey, we got adult beverages right here." And so like they have a whole cooler of like those mini wine bottles or cans of like Michelob Ultra or something. And then this year we go walking around, and I was smart. I made myself a double old fashioned in one of those like Yeti things, and I was sipping off that while we were walking. Yeah. We were walking around for 2.5 hours, man. She racked up like that little candy bag she had by the end of the night we weighed it. It's like 12 pounds worth of candy. So she cleaned up. But as many people that told us about Shark Boy and Lava Girl, that's how many houses said, "Hey, you guys want to come in? We've got a fully stocked bar. You can just top off." I said, I've never seen that, and maybe I don't remember being that young to see if my parents were offered anything, but my parents aren't big drinkers. But yeah, this year, man, just in our neighborhood, they're like, "Hey, come on in. Hey, you want a beer? You want some bourbon? You want anything?" I said, "I'm still good now, but if I swing back around in 45 minutes, I can probably hit you up for something."
What's funny too is the more, and once you hit like a certain age group, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of notice, and I mean, this is the way I am too, but like, I'll give you an example of the point I'm trying to get. So, my one buddy, he moved outside of DC, and he's in Virginia. It's a very uber ridiculously expensive, the townhouses are, around like $1 million, like regular houses are over $1 million. So anyway, his neighborhood, it's mostly like Indians. They all work like IT for the government and stuff like that, and all doing like very well or whatever. And he lives there in a house. Yeah. And then there's this townhouse section. Like I said, they're all like minimum like $600,000 townhouses up to like $800,000, $900,000 townhouses. I only know because he wanted me to move there, and I was like, dude, I'm not living in a fucking townhouse for $900,000. So anyway,
you need to sell a few more apps first,
right? Like I was like, dude, I could literally live anywhere. Why would I live where the cost of living is this ridiculous?
Right.
So I get it because they drive into DC for work. So anyway, long story short, oh man, this is going to turn into like an even longer story. So when we first moved there, when he first moved there, they were really close neighborhood in New Jersey. They moved to Virginia, and his kids were like, he has 2 young daughters, and they were kind of upset because they didn't have friends there, and they missed their friends. And the neighborhood, like I said, they just, the Indian culture is just different. They kind of stick together or whatever. And the girls were having trouble making friends. And then like his wife, the one day she was like literally like in tears, and she's like, I just really miss our friends. I miss our neighbors. She's like, I can't make friends around here. Mm-hmm. My buddy and I are like, we'll go make some friends. We'll go make some friends right now, right? Yeah. And she's like, what are you guys talking about? We're like, this is just what we do. Like, the reason why we don't have more friends is because we don't want more friends, but we can make friends. Yeah. So literally what we did was we put his kids in a radio flyer wagon, mm-hmm. and we put a cooler of beer on it, and we walked down to there's playgrounds in the middle of these like really nice neighborhoods, mm-hmm. and we're like we're gonna go make some friends. Like, guaranteed, if we walk through there with a cooler of beer, drinking beers, we're gonna make friends. Yep. We couldn't stop making friends. Like, we walked down. We're like, we're not gonna walk around this neighborhood. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go down to the townhouses, because you could see like in townhouses there was like a lot of like police flags and like American flags hanging up. Yeah. And you could kind of tell it was like more our vibe. So we walked down there, dude. Every house like we walked by, I swear to God, like people were like, they would come out and they're like, hey guys, what are you guys doing? There's like a party around here. And so we were like, and then they would come out and bring beer out and stuff like mm-hmm. that. And we come back and we're laughing, and his wife's like just kind of sitting there. We're like, so you have all the friends that you'll ever need. No, it took us like 2 hours, right?
Just need some beer. That's it.
So the whole point I was trying to get at with this whole thing is, it really doesn't matter like where you live. People are just still the same. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, you find those people everywhere, man. And you just go bring some beer. If you have a cooler, you will make friends, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't matter how much money people make. It does not change. I mean, we still sit around. We play PlayStation 3 and drink together in his mansion. And it's like nobody changes. Like, we're still the same people. So anyway, it just kind of reminds me of that whole thing. It really doesn't matter.
Exactly. Jojo, can you talk about Bloody Hell and Self-Flow 6?
Sure.
Sure. We can do that.
Sure.
Let me pull up the supplement facts real quick.
Pretty straightforward. But nitrogen, Self-Flow, and something else.
Yep. Nitrogen, Self-Flow 6, and Vasodrive AP.
Pretty badass.
Share screen.
Simple and to the point and super badass.
All right, there we go. All right, so we got 1,500 milligrams of nitrogen, 600 milligrams Self-Flow 6, 508 milligrams of Vasodrive AP. So nitrogen, or what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, really the only thing, and at this point, like, I mean, you couldn't do this anyway. I think it would make this super expensive, because I know Self-Flow is very expensive. Vasodrive, I can't remember. I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that's a very cheap date. Nitrogen is, but literally like the only thing that is you could add here probably would be like some nitrates, because you have Vasodrive is like you know what I'm saying. I mean, as far as like,
that's not going to work with this for a couple of reasons, but
you can't. But like, but I think what I'm getting at is like, there's really only like so many levers you're really going to tick on when it comes to pump, and there's no like hydration or anything like that in here. But you have, the nitrogen, the citrulline, the arginine pathway. Mm-hmm. But then you have Vasodrive is kind of its own. Like, you've used Vasodrive like in formulas and stuff like that. Vasodrive is kind of like one of those unique ingredients itself, where it touches on pump in actually a little bit different way rather than like a lot of the traditional ones we see. And then you have like Self-Flow is more like the polyphenol action kind of thing. So it's actually like there's a lot going on here for only like 3 ingredients, I guess is my point.
Yeah. Each ingredient is at the max recommended dosage. Nutrition 21 won't let you actually dose it higher than that.
The nitrogen?
Yeah, they won't let you go over 1,500
Mm-hmm.
milligrams. And if you wanted to do 3,000, they're not going to let you do it. Self-Flow 6 is at 600, full dose of that. Vasodrive AP, like you were mentioning earlier, it works on inhibiting the ACE enzyme, so angiotensin converting enzyme. And that's the one that will cause vasoconstriction. So by inhibiting that, it allows for more open, more flexible blood vessels, and so you get more blood flow, which the nitrosogene and Self-Flow 6 is increasing endothelial nitric oxide synthase activity, which is the enzyme that catalyzes the production of nitric oxide in the body. And nitrosogene is giving more fuel. So you've got more fuel, wider open vessels, more conversion of the precursor into active nitric oxide, and you got the vasodrive and the polyphenols of Self-Flow 6 making it wider and more flexible. So, from every aspect possible, you've got, lots and lots of blood going to the working muscles.
Yeah, like I said, the only really thing like you would need here to cover literally like everything, well, besides maybe some hydration, which is not going to happen in a capsule product, but would be nitrates, and you're not going to put nitrates in here anyway. Because then it's like, because I think I guess the whole point is like some people will, I think, look at this that are in love with these 37 ingredient formulas, and I would be like, and there's nothing wrong with like having a ton of ingredients in a formula, but sometimes 3 ingredients or 4 ingredients put together the right way is going to give you something better than maybe some redundancies can actually be counterproductive in some ways. So it's like I didn't get a chance to try this one, but this is a cool one, man. I think it depends on, because I got to try Self-Flow by itself a lot, and I was really a big fan of it. And I'm a huge fan of Vasodrive. I think Vasodrive is super cool.
Yep.
Nitrogen is super reliable. Did you do this one? I don't know if you can say that.
Yeah, I helped Robbie with it. Yeah, I had some input on it.
Makes sense. Yeah, because I know we'll talk about cost of goods in this formula. I think people would be shocked. It's 3 ingredients. This is a damn expensive formula.
Yeah, exactly. None of these are cheap. And Self-Flow 6, for the listeners that may not be sure what it is Vaso 6. So Vaso 6 has gone through some stuff on the back end, and now it's Self-Flow 6.
Did feel a little bit different to me when I was trying it out. When I was trying it head to head with Vaso 6, it felt different to me a little bit. Yeah. There was like a focus aspect of it. Maybe that could be something that only happened when you mix with stimulants. Like there could be something sort of going on there. I don't know if you just tried it by itself that you would get the same effects, but I seem to have, when I would take this with something maybe even like higher stimulant. I remember using Self-Flow with one of Robbie's. It might have been Double Impact or something like that. All of everything that was going on with there just lasted a little bit longer and was just like a little bit more noticeable every time I did it. I don't know if that was just, coincidence or something, but it just felt like what I would use it with just was like a notch higher, which is, I guess, the point. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to, we'll get to use it. Somebody's going to release a standalone. I know some companies were already planning on doing it, so that'll be a fun one to sort of tinker around with.
Yeah, man. I like this. And you could, if you just want to do like a standalone capsule pre-workout, you could do this and take 4 or 8 caps of Overtime or any other nootropic. Or if you just want, this could be your pump caps and you have a nootropic earlier in the day, like a powdered one or some coffee. You want to keep things super simple, or you stack this with any other stem-based pre-workout that you're wanting to do, because I don't know anything that's stacking these 3 ingredients together currently.
What's the price on this one for 20 servings?
This one is $50, but if you use the code Final Scoop, you can save 15%.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think that this is it's a $2 a serving kind of product. If you know the ingredients that are in there, it's $2 a serving product.
Yep.
So, like I said, I'm sure that people are going to, and this, I would say this, like I said, I'm a huge fan of what Robbie does. But I think that there's going to be people that see the price and and they're not going to appreciate it for what's going on in it.
Yeah.
But it's taking, like I said, the way they take it and you put those three ingredients together, you're leaving no stone unturned. Like if you have a good intra hydration sort of product to go with this, like I said, the only other thing that you could add that would maybe do something is nitrates. And like I said, you're not going to have that here. And then it would be too expensive anyway because nitrates are.
All of those branded things are super expensive. But the only branded ingredient that's not expensive is S7. That tells you all you need to know about that ingredient.
The price per kilo is actually pretty expensive, but you only ever see people use 25 milligrams of it. So but the price per kilo, I remember on that one's pretty expensive.
Yeah. I would love to see, I was talking with Aaron at Performax, and he said there's supposed to be another pilot study or some other kind of small study showing that it actually improves exercise performance. So I'm waiting for that to come out, and I'll be curious to see what it shows.
Not impressed with that last one.
Not really.
I feel like or no, maybe I'm thinking of Spectra. Spectra is another ingredient that I shit on all the time, but I think
it's the same company. It's Futureceuticals.
And but I remember, I think Ben Hartman used it at 750 milligrams in. I want to say it might be even be like his
Nutrigen.
No, I think it's his meal replacement. Macrogen, I think it's called. So he uses, and that was the first time I saw Spectra, and I was like, you know what, that's actually a legitimate dose, because most people use it at 100 milligrams or something like that, or 50, and it gives you a nice big paragraph to put that looks super cool on your label, but it's not going to do anything. But he actually used it at 700.
Yep. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, and his explanation, it makes sense too, because it's the phytonutrients. It's not that there's something inherently wrong with using it. It's just it's like the S7. If you're going to use those types of ingredients, I think that's valid, right? But if you're going to use 25 milligrams of it, then I don't really see. I just don't see it. I don't see the point.
Yeah, and the typical, I guess, suggested dose is 100 milligrams of Spectra. If you can use 7 times something and it's not toxic, why aren't more companies putting in it? Because we know this isn't that expensive of an ingredient.
Yeah. So that was the one time I saw it, and I was like, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool product too, by the way.
Yeah, man, that is a solid meal replacement.
And actually, he even said, because he used the calcium caseinate, he actually said that he wanted to use micellar casein, which calcium caseinate is really not that much different, but he was like, honestly, he's like, if I would have put micellar casing in there, he's like, I would have lost money on this product. He's like, because he's like, so this is what we had to do.
Flavor sounds interesting. No bake cookies, homemade apple pie.
Dude, the blueberry lemon cake is insane.
I bet that's good.
It's so good. All the ones I've tried, I think I've tried them all. They're all good, but the blueberry lemon cake is that's my jam.
I need to try adaptogen. I'm curious to see how we flavored that thing, if that is even remotely palatable.
It's awesome. The vanilla one is awesome. So this is a super cool product.
Yeah.
So the other one must be sold out. It's like chocolate.
Yeah, Chocolate Dream is sold out.
So the chocolate one, to me, has, if you look at it, there's some really weird stuff in there. There's the
glandular tissue.
Yeah, all this stuff is, as you can imagine, does not taste very good. On the chocolate one, when I have it by itself, there's a aftertaste that's a little weird. But the vanilla one, man, it's shocking how good it is. Yeah, but a lot of people mix it with coffee and stuff like that, and you don't notice that.
That could work. That'd be a really good coffee creamer too. Plus, because mushroom coffee is a huge thing right now. It has been for a couple of years, and you're getting 3 grams full of that compared to some other little mushroom coffees out there that aren't anywhere near that amount.
Yeah, and you got the phosphatidylcholine. I would want
stress.
A lot of people use this first thing in the morning. I don't. This is it's too. You have the magnolia bark. That stuff is super calming for me.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of people feel like energetic when they take this stuff. And I'm not that way. I actually prefer it. Say if I use like a really like super high stim pre-workout and I have like a really intense workout, I'll take this in that post-workout window.
Yeah.
Try to get things sort of back on the rail. But I mean, dude, I love this formula.
Yeah, it's like everything Ben does. It's top-notch formulas.
Yeah.
Supplements next. Hey, Kristen. I used it in coffee the other day. It tastes great.
Sure. It is. The vanilla one, like I said, is really, it's shocking how good it is for what's in there.
Yeah. Cool. All right, my man. I know you got a meeting coming up soon, so I'll let you get on with your business and whatnot.
I do, and that'll be a fun. So we're getting a little bit closer. This is we're going to meet with Tristan and his brothers. They still haven't announced the name of the brand. But, we've been working on that brand with them for like a year. Mm-hmm. They've been working on it for probably 2 years. It's ready to drop, man. It's they're some good kids, man. They're awesome. So that brand, like I said, the brand is going to be more for the formulas are cool. If I do say it so myself, they perform super well. But their crowd is very young. They're like 19-ish, kind of thing. They're doing like 30 servings, so you want to keep the price down for their target audience and stuff like that. So, but in like what we were saying earlier, the way the stim pre came out, it came out awesome. It was a formula I had wanted to see for a while. Mm-hmm. And I got a chance to sort of make something that I really wanted to, and man, it came out so good. And so, like I said, sometimes you can just do more with less if you know what you're doing. Like I said, that 3-ingredient formula, bloody hell, is badass. So it's right around the corner.
And last thing, and then we'll close out. Jiffy Jank, would you stack bloody hell with gorilla mode nitric, or it's overkill? I'm gonna go and say it's definitely overkill because you're getting 1,500 milligrams of nitrosogene and 254 milligrams of vasodrive VP, where you're already getting 1,500 milligrams of that and 508 in bloody hell. So, I mean, you can only maximize and optimize to a certain extent before you're just converting it and wasting money at that point.
Yeah, what I would stack with bloody hell is exactly what I said earlier. Something that's got some nitrates, perhaps, and then some kind of hydration aspects. Glacier Pump, I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't think that Glacier Pump gives you enough glycerol to really do that much. Just me personally, I'm not against it, but I'm a kind of a take it or leave it kind of guy when it comes to Glacier Pump. But all you would need with bloody hell is some hydration. Like I said, possibly some nitrates. Other than that, it's probably going to be overkill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not nice. I mean, you can stack certain things, but in this case, you're just wasting money at this point.
Mm-hmm. So very expensive stack there, which I'm all for that. I'm all for overkill, but there's just sometimes when it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
you actually probably could do yourself some damage doing that because if you're taking that much in, and you're not taking like stimulants to kind of balance out, there's going to be some blood pressure issues probably.
You could go hypotensive. And that's always, especially when you throw it like because that's also got 1,500 milligrams of sodium nitrate in there too, in addition to all that stuff. So use one or the other. You don't need to stack both. There's only so much pump your body can actually produce anyway.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. And I've tested those limits, man. I've tested those limits, and you don't want that. Like you don't want to have too much pump, man. It is a bad experience. That time I took 3 grams of Vaso 6 to test that threshold. Man, I thought I was going to die.
Would you not recommend that in any way, shape, or form?
Oh yeah. I shouldn't say. You should just cut that part out. We were trying to, because we 300 milligrams we got this, and I was like 600 got this, and I was like I noticed I was getting more and more, and so one day we're like, well, let's just see how high we can go. So that was. That's it.
There you go. You hit the upper limit. Mm-hmm. You hit the threshold, and then you back off just enough to where you don't die, and then that's the dose going forward.
Exactly.
Outstanding, my man. Well, another episode's in the books. For listeners tuning in on live stream, thank you for your participation in the episode. If you're catching us on replay, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when me and Supplement Snoop go live each and every week on the Bourbon Brothers. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy what we're doing. That helps us climb up in the almighty algorithm that dictates anything and everything to which we are exposed these days. Good one, my friend. Enjoy some bourbon today or tomorrow, and we'll see everybody next time on the Bourbon Brothers.
All right.